Welcome to Diverse Faces. All are worthy of full investment. Through the years, we've made substantial progress in overcoming stigma and discrimination, which are barriers to accessing services that make wellness and a high quality of life possible. And we are so proud of that. Unfortunately, many still do not have access to mental health, substance use, or intellectual and developmental disability services. I'm here today with one of our newest presidents and CEOs, Bridget Johnson of CarePlus, New Jersey. Bridget will be joining me to outline the current state of New Jersey's behavioral health system and the resources needed to ensure equity and access for New Jersey's diverse population.
New Jersey has made significant investments in its existing behavioral health system while expanding services and developing new components of care, which begin to fill the gaps in services offered to New Jerseyans. Today, in the state of New Jersey, we can be proud of the help we provide every day that creates opportunities to make a difference in the lives of thousands of diverse children, youth, and adults in their times of need. There are success stories such as Angelica, who was estranged from her children, homeless, without a job, and suffering from addiction. Angelica was able to get the help she needed to recover from addiction and turn her life around.
I was trying to escape my reality, and I found that in drugs. I was numb. I didn't, I felt like I didn't have any problems, even though I had children. I had an older child at that time, I just gave her to my parents and they raised her. I just wanted to stop using drugs and alcohol, and I knew 6 months was not enough time for me. So I went to Eva's Mommy and Me program. I was reunified with my second daughter during that time. When I first entered the Mommy and Me program, it was like a sense of safetyness, like I was at ease. I didn't know what was going to happen for me right then and there, but I knew I was safe.
Angelica was someone who had the motivation to get better. She worked and saved money. In fact, she worked her way up to a manager position at a restaurant. This is why full investment is needed, because there are a lot of Angelicas who need support every day. Another one of our talented behavioral health professionals in New Jersey is Dr. Tara Chalakani, CEO of Preferred Behavioral Health Group.
Shauna Moses, a key member of the NJHAMAA staff, overcame severe depression and survived a suicide attempt. We are incredibly proud of Shauna for her journey to recovery and her courage to share her experiences to help others.
I understood what went through the mind of my close relative who had died. It's like a tunnel around your head that blocks out all the positives. No matter how much you try to convince yourself that the negative you can get by, you can work through, and the positive is what you need to focus on. Your mind just doesn't let you do that in that state. The night I attempted to take my life, I went back home and I think I emailed my parents because I was too emotional to call and said, I want you to take me to Carrier Clinic tomorrow. So the next day they did that. I underwent such a major transformation and I saw others transform right before my eyes. They really helped me through that darkest phase.
Adib Salim from Atlantic Care further illustrates the commitment that our New Jersey behavioral health staff bring to their work.
Our doors are open to everyone, and what we try to do is when you walk through our doors, we really aim to have you meet with a psychiatrist and a therapist within that 24-hour window. Atlantic Care has a broad array of different mental health services and programs. So where I work is the adult intervention services, so that's more like the mental health urgent care. Our aim is to keep people out of the hospital, but sometimes you know, you get people who their symptoms are just a bit too much and they need to go in for that treatment.
What follows are two examples of people needing help. Sadly, Miguel did not receive support until after he was incarcerated. However, Stephanie, with 5 children dependent on her recovery, was fortunate and received services before being incarcerated.
I have a 1-year-old daughter who, after 2 weeks of her being born, I was locked up and I've been gone ever since. When I got to Integrity, I was like, oh my God, I've heard stories about this place. They're gonna stick me online, I'm gonna get a haircut, I'm gonna do all these horrible things. I'm like, just send me to prison, I'm not going there. But I went there. This is all about a behavior that I just do. You know, it's like my impulses tell me to go, not deal with my feelings, you know what I mean? It was actually the best place. I'm grateful that that's where I was sent. You know, like I have a responsibility. I have 5 children that I need to be better for. I don't think any other program would have done the things that they did for me to help me, you know, get through the biggest pain of my life.
I came from the streets of New York and the streets of Camden. Started smoking heroin, tar heroin, at a young age, around 14, 15 years old. I went back to Camden and I committed a crime there. I was 17 years old at that time. Throughout these years, I was still doing drugs. You know what I'm saying? I was still hooked and I was not feeling, I didn't want to feel the hurt that I was feeling. I was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and ADHD. There's hope out there.
Specifically, what is needed now is full investment through adequate rates and contracts that cover all costs of care in existing programs and new programs that are being planned. These include not only clinical treatment, but also services that address social determinants of health, such as housing, education, childcare, transportation, and employment, as well as the overhead costs of running a business, including competitive wages.
There can be no delay for wage increases as recruitment and retention continue to worsen. Important programs are reduced and new programs wait to be started due to the fact that providers cannot compete with wages in the labor marketplace.
Without full investment in behavioral health services, others like Angelica, Miguel, Stephanie, and Shauna will have a diminished path to the vital treatment and supports that they need, deserve, and are worthy of to improve their well-being and lead productive, fulfilling lives.